This is the Fugu 29. If you've not heard of Fugu, they're a Swedish brand building only this model, and if you're familiar with the Goldfish brand of ribs, well, they're built in a very similar vein. They're inboard engines only. You can have a diesel 370 horsepower or petrol 430 horsepower on a single stern drive, and it's a very focused performance machine. It has a Petestep hull, which is something we're going to go into more when we get it out to sea, which we are going to do shortly. First of all, we're going to give you a tour of the boat itself, which isn't going to take all that long. Now, this particular boat does look very sinister. It's black on black on black. It's like a black hole. We're here in Poole, and you'd be forgiven for thinking it's an SBS boat because there is a base just up the harbour there. But it really does look purposeful, stationary and out on the water. Now, this boat to this spec is £166,000 including VAT, and you might think, looking at, okay, what am I getting for that money? Well, you're getting 4 wonderful Ullman shock absorbing seats. They're absolutely superb, top of the range. You are getting a table, which is an option, your sun pad, there's a cabin down there. Cabin is pushing it a little bit. It's pretty basic. There's the option to have a toilet down there, which is actually quite useful if you're day boating. And then you've got the options like the racing throttles. You've got the bigger Simrad MFD. This particular boat's got zip wake, and you've got the Fusion stereo system. But it's not a boat that you're going to be lounging around on. It's really not designed for that, as you can see. What it's designed for is traveling very, very quickly. But of course, you have to use it as a boat as well, and because these seats are here, fabulous as they are out on the water, it's a bit awkward moving around this area. And as you get up forward, you sort of can't really stand on this area, so you're sort of going up the tube, and it feels a little bit precarious when you're out at sea. And then you get up to the foredeck, where you really feel like you're on the boat and not in it. You've got a little cushion here that you can perch on. I have to say, they haven't built a huge number of boats, and they're still sort of feeding their way into the market, and that does show in places like this hatch. You know, could really do with something to hold it up, a gas ram, a cord, you know, a cleat is optional if you want to have an anchor here. This boat is a Swedish brand, so stern anchor is quite popular, so it's got the anchor on the stern. You have the anchor here, you just sort of chuck it out the side. There's no roller or anything like that, so it does feel a little bit basic. However, the yard are aware of that, and they are working on improving that sort of attention to detail for future boats. Move back down. As I said, 2 engine options, diesel 370, petrol 430. This particular boat has got the diesel option, and access it as shown. The access is very, very good. Not a huge amount of deck storage on this boat. You know, there's that locker I showed you earlier at the bow. Really, that's what this cabin is going to be used for. You're going to chuck all your kit, fenders, lines, they all pretty much go down there. There's a little bit of storage under these seats, but really, that's why the cabin is there. You're not really going to sleep in there, but as a storage area, it's pretty good. But access to the engine is absolutely superb. It's really easy to get to everything. It's a very, very neat installation. You can just see down in that corner, you have the roller there that coils in the anchor rope, because you've got the anchor mounted on the bathing platform there. And actually on this side, as an option, you have an auto inflation compressor. So you can compress, inflate the tubes, I should say, just using that. So you don't have to use a hand pump or anything like that. You can inflate all of the tubes, pressing a button at the helm, which is actually quite a nice addition. If they lose a bit of pressure, you can easily top them up. Now, I should probably mention that you don't have to have such a sinister colour scheme. You can have white tubes, and you can change the colour of the upholstery. And as you can probably tell from that quick tour, it is not a boat for lounging around on. It's not a leisure rib. What it's about is performance out at sea. So let's get out there and see what it can do. Takes about 5 seconds sitting at this helm to realise what a focused machine this is. You sort of wedge yourself into this fantastic Ullman shock absorbing seat. You've got Mercury's racing throttles, so you've got forward, neutral, reverse on one stubby throttle, and then you've got full rev range on the other, a 3-spoke wheel, and your Simrad MFD. It's really quite simple, and it's a helm station that says just shut up and drive. That V8 TDI, once it's on boost, my God, it is just effortless. That's 25 knots in absolutely no time. Trimmer up a touch, This boat's got zip wake and it has got Mercury's sort of auto trim system. All of that is turned off on this boat. The UK dealer here said you don't need it. It rides so well without any of that assistance, and he's dead right. I haven't touched any of that stuff all day. It settles into such a lovely, easy, level running attitude. And this boat has the Petestep hull. And as opposed to a sort of normal planing hull or a stepped hull where you've got spray rails, this boat's got 3 triangular grooves cut into the hull, which sort of sends the wash down along and behind the boat rather than out to the side, which makes it very, very quiet. You don't get those wings of spray going out either side of the boat. It just sort of funnels quietly away down the side of the boat. It's a really quite remarkable feeling, and they say that that also makes it more efficient and more comfortable. And I'm sort of loath to use the magic carpet reference when it comes to ride, but there really isn't a better way to describe it. There's a sort of nasty short chop out here in Poole today, and it just seems to sort of hover over it. It's the most extraordinary feeling. It's completely effortless. And we're only doing 25 knots now. If we turn downwind, where this boat really wants to be cruising is 40 knots. There we go, getting up there now. It just feels so happy at that speed. 40 knots now, we're doing 1.2 litres per nautical mile. 46 litres an hour at 40 knots. Very, very comfortably. And that is really where you see what this boat is designed to do. It's not a boat designed to lie around on. You're not going to spend hours on anchor. It's designed to get you there, you go for your lunch, you go and enjoy your destination, and then you shoot back again in no time. And really, even if it chops up, you're still going to be able to carry these speeds and everyone's going to be comfortable. Everyone's got this suspension seat, and whatever the hull can't deal with, these seats will. But this is now the boat really in the groove, and it feels absolutely fantastic. It's got the Bravo 3 leg on it, so it's got counter-rotating propellers. You can have the Bravo 1 leg, which gives you a little bit more play when it comes to propeller choice. This is under revving ever so slightly, but it's still maxing out at 3,800 RPM and 55 knots. So yeah, you cruise at 40 knots, that's the sweet spot. Of course, you can also cruise at 25 knots. We are doing under 1 litre per nautical mile. You can also cruise at 50 knots if you really want to get a move on. It's this boat's cruising capability, that's what you're paying for. It's a lot of money for when you first look at it, when it's a very basic feeling rib. But you have to get it out onto the water to understand what this is about. It's not a leisure rib. It's a rib designed to take you places quickly and comfortably, and take you places in conditions when other ribs would probably be running for the shelter of port. This thing can handle it. And talking of handling things, well, the grip is absolutely incredible. It really is. Sort of this size of a jet boat, I really haven't driven anything that's just so tenacious in the corners, and that isn't always the case with a traditional stepped hull. Sometimes you get a bit of ventilation as the air is running under the hull. That doesn't happen with this. It just grips and grips. You really have to hold on. You have to tell to your passengers, if you're going to do a hard turn, let them know, because it really is quite savage in the turns. Fine if you're ready for it, and it's very predictable and controllable, but you know, I've not really driven anything that's quite as grippy or tenacious as this. It's pretty amazing, and it's one of the other benefits of having that stern drive leg. It's just so much grip on offer. It is a pretty breathtaking driving experience, and you can have this with a 430 horsepower petrol V8 if you want. That'll do 60 knots. The performance of this diesel, it's so accessible, and if we just bury the throttles momentarily, sorry Paul, it really gets a move on. But it's so easy and it's so quiet. This hull is so efficient and economical through the water. I've never felt anything like it. It really is amazing. Sorry. Yeah, we'll slow down a wee bit. It's probably easier on our poor cameraman. It's a simplicity to this boat that is really refreshing. Even down to the driving position. There's nothing complicated about this helm. There are no unnecessary trinkets or toys or gadgets. just what you need to drive it, and most of the stuff is turned off anyway, like zip wake. And there's a real connection to driving this boat. You know, you don't just have all the automatic systems and sort of sit back and let it do it. You drive this thing, and that's such a nice thing to be able to do. There aren't many boats like this anymore. Everything is so leisure focused and designed to be lived on and designed with comfort at rest in mind. Well, this is designed with comfort and speed in mind, and it nails it to a T. It's a special bit of kit. Unique, quite niche, but for the right person, really pretty hard to beat out here on the water.
Thank you for watching our review of the Fugu 29. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss one of our videos.